Shindō Jinen Ryū means the divine natural style. The name reflects a simple idea that training which follows the body's natural lines can lead a person toward a correct way of living. The style took shape in Tokyo in 1933 under Yasuhiro Konishi, a martial artist who had arrived at karate through years of training in classical jujutsu and kendo, and who moved easily among the teachers who brought Okinawan karate to mainland Japan. Konishi was born in Takamatsu and began martial arts as a child in jujutsu schools, then took up kendo and eventually became a coach at Keio University. One of his classmates from Okinawa demonstrated a karate form at a social gathering, and that small demonstration pushed Konishi to begin learning the new striking art. After graduation, he briefly worked in business. Then, in 1923, he opened his own training hall in Tokyo, naming it Ryobu-kan, where he taught kendo and judo while continuing to study karate. Within a year, Gichin Funakoshi asked to rent space there, and the Ryobu-kan also hosted Choki Motobu and Kenwa Mabuni as they taught and trained in Tokyo. In these rooms, Konishi crossed hands and ideas with them daily. The Ryobu-kan later became a formal headquarters. Konishi established the Ryobu-kan General Headquarters in 1927, a date preserved in modern histories and in publications that record the lineage of the organization that would steward Shindo Jinen Ryu. Those same sources show how the dojo functioned as a hub for multiple arts before and after the war. Across those years, Konishi studied with Funakoshi and also sought out Motobu and Mabuni for their fighting experience and their encyclopedic kata knowledge. He also trained with Morihei Ueshiba, whose early teachings of Daito Ryu Aiki Jujutsu and the emerging Aikido strongly impressed him. This cross-training did not produce a hybrid for novelty's sake. It gave Konishi a framework for an approach to karate that relied less on meeting force with force and more on entering, turning, and repositioning to strike or throw on angles that felt natural to the whole body. By 1933, Konishi pulled these lines together and named his way Shindo Jinen Ryu. Training followed the familiar pillars of basics, forms, and sparring, yet the content and rhythm reflected his teachers. The curriculum acknowledged the Shotokan and Shito Ryu catalogs he had learned, while the body handling owed much to kendo footwork and to Ueshiba's insistence on continuous movement and clear offline entries. The organization that carries the style today describes its training as traditional karate that also recognizes the influence of Aikido, Jujutsu, and Kendo. Konishi's most distinctive technical contribution sits at the heart of the style as a practice and as a feeling in the body. After demonstrating a familiar heian form to Ueshiba, he was told to abandon ineffective movement and to pursue real body handling instead. Konishi answered by building a chain of actions he called taisabaki, literally body movement. The sequence was designed to flow without the usual pauses, teaching the practitioner to shift the center, evade on an angle, intercept, and finish without breaking rhythm. He later expanded the idea into three forms known as taisabaki shoden, taisabaki niden, and taisabaki sanden. In the dojos that trace to his line, these forms remain a quick test of whether a practitioner can let the hips and shoulders carry the work instead of the arms alone. A second signature thread is seiryu, also read aoyagi, meaning green willow. Around 1935, while Konishi was working closely with Mabuni and with daily contact among Ueshiba and Hironori Otsuka, the army requested practical self-defense material for women employed on the government railways. Konishi asked Mabuni to help design a single kata that assembled short, direct methods suited to smaller frames and to the situations those workers faced. The result blended the straight-line power of karate with circular redirections and close-range turns, and it entered the teaching of both the Ryobu-kai and of Shito Ryu lines. Accounts from the Konishi and Yamazaki lines preserve both the collaboration and the purpose behind it. Because Konishi welcomed teachers from multiple lines, the Shindo Jinen Ryu kata map is wider than most. Alongside the taisabaki trio and seiryu, one finds forms such as rohai and juroku that emphasize balance, naifanshin and the pinan series that build strong lateral movement, and newer Shito-derived additions like nippaipo and anan that teach whip-like turns and quick realignment. The point is less about collecting names and more about a syllabus that forces a student to place the same body logic inside different templates. Schools tied to Ryobu-kai publish working lists that show this breadth. The people around Konishi shaped the art as much as the forms. Hold on for a second. Thank you for watching my videos. If you enjoy what I do, you can support my project via clicking the Join Sponsor button on YouTube. That way you can get early access to my new videos before anyone else. You are also going to get access to my Daido Juku Kudo Karate courses. Now, let's get back to the video. In the early Tokyo years, formal recognition of karate within the Dai Nippon Butoku Kai was not guaranteed. Konishi used his standing in the Budo world to help karate gain that recognition, and in 1935 he received a Butoku Kai teacher title before some of his own teachers. When challenges came to test the foreign art, it was often Konishi and Hironori Otsuka who stepped forward to answer them, building practical credibility for the new practice in the eyes of other schools. Konishi also provided financial and social support to Motobu, who had difficulty with the language on the mainland, ensuring that the older fighters' hands-on method influenced the next generation. From the late Taisho and early Showa decades through the post-war rebuild, the Ryobu-kan remained a place where teachers gathered and where the karate that would become Shindō Jinen Ryū took its shape. The record of Mabuni living at Konishi's home for close to 10 months in the late 1920s and the evidence of constant exchange among these teachers show that the style is not a closed system pulled from a single source. It is a map of what Konishi learned, tested, and decided to keep. After Konishi's death in 1983, leadership passed to his son, known internationally as Yasuhiro Konishi. The Japan Karate-do Ryobu-kai became the stewarding body, with Kiyoshi Yamazaki serving as international director for overseas branches for many years. That structure is what most schools mean today when they say they practice Shindo Jinen Ryu, and it explains why a single set of forms can be found from Tokyo to North America to Europe with small regional differences, but a common root. Today, the Ryobu-kai states that it has branches in more than 20 countries. The public face of the organization is consistent about its mission to teach Shindō Jinen Ryū as a traditional Japanese karate while keeping the founder's broader influences visible. The publication in the early 2020s of a complete kata compendium devoted to the style shows that preservation is an ongoing project, not a museum piece. For someone hearing the style for the first time, the practical feel can be described without recourse to jargon. The stance work is upright and mobile rather than rooted for long periods. Footwork shifts on diagonals to change the line before the hands touch. The first strike is often paired with a turn of the waist that places the defender out of the original path and already on an angle for a takedown or a finish. When a block appears, it is usually a redirection that opens a target rather than a hard collision. The Tai Sabaki forms magnify this logic by forcing continuous entry, pivot, and finish, teaching the body to move as a unit and to let the hips move the hands. Seiryu adds short arcs and turns that are reachable by smaller bodies while keeping the same emphasis on positioning and decisive endings. The broader kata list, inherited from Shotokan and Shito Ryu and refined inside the Ryobu-kan, drives the same point through many shapes so that the student learns principles rather than memorize dances. The people most associated with the style tell the same story in their careers. Konishi drew from Funakoshi the clean line, and from Motobu the demand that a method work under pressure. He drew from Mabuni the habit of preserving forms and treating them as libraries of tactics rather than as rituals. From Ueshiba, he took the expectation that movement should be unbroken and that the best position is usually just to the side of the attack, not straight in front of it. Later, under the Ryobu-kai, teachers such as Kiyoshi Yamazaki helped carry those ideas abroad, while Mina Yamazaki became a recognizable face for kata in demonstrations and media tied to the organization. Across these lines, the style remains identifiable in its insistence on body shifting first and technique named second. That is the history and the technical core of Shindō Jinen Ryū. It came from a specific place in time when karate was new to Japan and had to prove itself to other arts, and it was shaped by one man who invited the sharpest teachers he could find to share a floor with him. The result is a style with a wide kata map and a distinctive way of using the body that has carried forward through the Ryobu-kai to the present day.